So much.
We'll keep you updated if they do decide to weigh in, but we do have another big story that's developing this morning. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has issued a not-so-veiled threat to the telecommunications companies after the committee investigating the January 6th attack has asked them to retain phone records that could be relevant to the investigation. McCarthy is now claiming that that would be in violation of federal law, though his office didn't tell CNN which law. He's warning them that if they comply, a future Republican majority, and I'm quoting him now, will not forget. Joining us now is CNN legal analyst Norm Eisen. He was a special impeachment counsel to the House Judiciary Committee in Trump's first impeachment trial. Norm, what law is Kevin McCarthy talking about here? Is there one?
Caitlin, nice to be back with you and you, John. No, there's no law. This is the equivalent of the proverbial gangster walking into the business and saying, gee, nice telecom company you have here. It would be a shame if anything happened to it. It's the exact opposite. It's Orwellian. If these telecom companies failed to comply with the requirement to preserve these records, if they did what Kevin McCarthy wants and refused to turn over the records, Caitlin, that would be a violation of law. So this is absolutely unjustified by law, and it raises serious questions under the House ethics rules and other laws for Kevin McCarthy himself.
You bring up House ethics rules. Does this constitute legally obstruction by threatening the telecom companies with future action?
Well, John, it meets the elements of obstruction. It's a threat. It's an attempt to stop them through that threat from turning over documents. It's self-motivated. It's corrupt. McCarthy is worried about what may be in those records on him and on members of his caucus. It's always a challenge when you have legislative activity. And note that he did this on his official Twitter account. You have protection under the Constitution for legislators, the speech and debate clause. There'll be a debate about that, but the House ethics rules, Rule 23, prohibits any behavior that brings discredit upon the House. What could be more discreditable than threatening companies that if they comply with the law, they'll be punished when McCarthy has the ability to do that. So I think there's a serious ethics issue and then legal issues potentially that need to be explored as well.
Right. And all this is him hinging this on Republicans taking back the majority. Of course, we don't know that that won't happen. But, Norm, we do know that the committee didn't name names of lawmakers whose records they want. But we do know Kevin McCarthy is someone who spoke to former President Trump on January 6th. So do you think that he has a personal motivation in making this threat?
There's no question about it. We know that his behavior is going to be called into question, and the committee is going to probe his exchanges with the president. We know that members of his caucus, like Matt Gaetz, Mo Brooks, Marjorie Taylor Greene, are also in the crosshairs here, and possibly many others. And, Caitlin, it's not just January 6th. The committee correctly understands that President Trump's pattern of incitement and that of his enablers went back for months in illegitimately attacking an unquestioned electoral result and whipping people into a frenzy. So there could be some very embarrassing revelations. Remember that many, many members of the Republican caucus, with no basis at all, voted against certifying the election results.
Ambassador Norm Eisen, always a pleasure. Thanks for getting up for us.
Thanks, guys. Great to be with you.
Triple-digit heat in store for Louisiana today.